Hi, this is Ron Kincher of Muddy River News, and this is Thank You for Your Service, brought to you by 8 Open. We are at 8 Open recording this, and also Paul Havermill at the Veterans Alliance Commission, correct?
Jason Watkins.
Yes, Jason Watkins is here with us. You are a veteran.
Yes.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, and went to Notre Dame, got out of Notre Dame, and decided you're going to join.
Yes, sir.
What was the reasoning behind that, the thought process?
Well, I got a call. I was actually in the shower. I got a call in December, my senior year, and by a recruiter with the Army, and he said, hey, you mind coming and talking to me? And I'm like, I really don't know what I want to do with my life. I know I have a little bit of academic and sports scholarships, but nothing set in stone of what I wanted to do or how I wanted to go about it. My dad was in the Army, and I thought, it's not going to hurt just to sit down and talk to him. And I sat down, and I enjoyed what they talked to. I took the test and did very well, and they had a two-year enlistment program, and I found out it would pay for all my college, and so I decided, it's peacetime, it's a good time to do it, and got quite a shock.
You got kind of quite a shock then, a couple of years later. So after you enrolled, where did you head off to? And it was Army, correct? You chose the Army.
Yes.
So where did you go?
So when I enlisted, I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was an M1A1 tank crew member, and I did 16 weeks of training at Fort Knox, Kentucky. And after that, I went to Fort Hood, Texas, was my actual permanent duty station for the remainder of my time.
So when did you realize after you enlisted that you may have to go overseas and face some action?
So I was actually as part of the delayed entry program January of 01, and my actual enlistment date was July 12th, and I had to wait a little bit of time for National Guard Reserve to get through basic training. And we got in September, and right at the beginning of September, 9/11 happened. And that's when it was an awakening call that, when I sign that contract, there's things I'm going to have to do that I have to do for my country.
So when 9/11 happened, what was that like being in the service at that point, going through your training and everything?
It brought things more realistic. I think the training got more better, actually, because we realized that, hey, we're going to have to use this sometime. We better start listening and doing our job. It was awkward because everything got on lockdown. We now had to do guard all over everywhere, set up guard rotations that weren't in place before. But the training got more intense, got more serious. We couldn't talk to anybody outside of the military base. Nobody's parents or family knew what was going on for about a week. But it was a bittersweet thing. It made it more difficult, but it prepared us for what we're about ready to go do.
Yeah, and that's what you obviously wanted to go. So you were a part of Operation Iraqi Freedom, correct?
Yes, sir.
So when you went over there, what were you told you were going to do? What was your purpose for being there? What were you told?
So when backing up a little bit, right before I went over, we were told that we were going to go through Turkey and invade everything north through Turkey. And Turkey, I like their philosophy. They said that we're not doing things properly through NATO. We can't use their bases, their airfields, their air support, anything. So we had to go. Flew into Kuwait, and we had trucks drive our tanks up to Baghdad, and right after Baghdad, we were the invading force on our tanks all the way up to Mosul.
Okay. And what was your quote-unquote job? What did they tell you your job was?
To take everything north of Baghdad. And that was...
Come hell or high water, you're taking everything up there?
You're taking over everything that you come in contact with. Prior to that, I wanted to know what was going on currently because 3rd ID was already invading. It started March 20th. I was there in country April 5th. 3rd Infantry Division out of Fort Stewart was invading everything up to Baghdad, and we dropped April 5th. So we took Baghdad north. But I watched news for 18 hours, CNN, Fox, ABC, all of it. And when I went over there, after watching it 18 hours a day, none of it was 100% accurate. It was more or less trying to sell news.
So that's what I was going to ask you about. So when you got over, and I'm glad you asked that because I was not comfortable asking you this question. So after you got over there, was it what you thought it was going to be? When what they told you were doing, were you thinking, why are we here? That type of thing.
A little bit, yes. The purpose was still there because my commander-in-chief told us to do something. I'm going to do it. everybody was on that same page. But I did see lots of the rocket launching pads and things like that. So they had it at one time, but there was burnout vehicles and things from the Gulf War still there in the 90s, and supposedly it was a huge ordeal. But when we went over there, they realized that our tanks are not made out of wood, and they started running instead of.
Okay.
So it was, but granted, there were still mortar attacks every day when I was there. There were still lots of things, but it wasn't an actual all-out gung-ho nuclear, biological, chemical warfare that it was being perceived that was going to be.
Right. So basically, are you saying there wasn't much resistance to you guys? There
wasn't much. It was more of they like to be, because our tanks are pretty heavily armed.
Right.
But they would try and do mortar attacks from 3,000, 5,000 meters away, so we couldn't really see what we were. It wasn't any direct contact with a whole lot of fight until at night. Then they would try and.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how safe did you feel?
Being on a tank when it was operational, very safe. Probably a 9. When my tank broke down, probably a 4 or 5.
4 or 5, okay.
Because we're kind of a sitting duck for a little while.
Okay. What about? Was there ever a home base that the tanks would all? I'm sorry, I know nothing about this. Was there ever a home base, like a camp that you guys went to and then dispersed from?
We called them an Alpha Alpha, or an assembly area.
Yes.
We had one at Mosul Airport. I was with 4th ID, but I could wear the 101st Airborne because I was the tank support for the airport in Mosul.
Right.
So we had the home base there. Our tank broke down on the way there, so he sent us down to Samara. So we had 2 places there. One of them was right outside the ancient ruins of Babylon. So we were kind of guarding that area.
So did you feel, were you far enough away from the action then that you put your head down on bed that you felt safe?
Never.
Okay. Never that
We're
safe.
still on alert. There's still mortar attacks every day. Since our tanks broke down, we had to raid houses.
Oh, geez.
I had to do inventory type stuff. So, never 100% safe, but not as alert as I was right when I first left, because I realized that they're a very untrained military, and it was more of pot shots and catch them off guard type situations.
I just thought it was so when you were training, I'm going back a little bit, the first time that tank shot, what was that like being inside? I'm assuming you were inside the tank when that happened.
That was one of the most gratifying, manly feelings I think I've ever got in my entire life. You got a 72-ton tank shooting a 120 millimeter main gun, and you got 72 tons that rocks after, and the dust flies, and you see the destruction that it creates, and you're just like, yep, that's what I signed up to do right there. Yeah, I grew up.
Nobody's going to mess with us.
And who else gets to do this? Who gets to shoot a main gun of a M1A1 battle tank?
That's crazy. After your service, you returned home.
Yes, sir.
How did you feel coming home? Was there any adjustment?
Well, the greatest adjustment I had is I was asked to be a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars here in town, and I had some fellow friends of my father's that were members there, and talking to them, they were Vietnam veterans and Korean War veterans. One of them was a Purple Heart recipient, 2-time Purple Heart recipient that was the first wave that jumped into Vietnam, and he made me realize that I really didn't experience war at war as much as they did, and they weren't welcomed home. They were drafted to do this. A lot of them didn't volunteer to do this, but they did it, and they weren't welcomed back serving their country. But I was welcomed back, so it was gratifying. But on the same token, it was still at the beginning of what was going on with PTSD. So our debriefing was, hey, call us if you need something, goodbye. Right. And now there's more of a debriefing where, hey guys, there's some training on how to get back to the civilian way of doing things once you get out. So
yeah, and I've talked to some Vietnam veterans, and I was going to ask you that question about your experience versus what they went through. But the PTSD that those guys went through and the Korean guys and gals went through really wasn't recognized until like 25, 30 years later, and then they were able to get some treatment. Is that hard for you when you hear those stories about what those veterans went through?
Absolutely, because I know, especially in this area, you're kind of isolated from the big cities, but you're no direct pun at any counselor, psychiatrist. If you don't have direct veterans experience, you really can't treat the facility. I spent a month at the VA hospital in St. Cloud, Minnesota, surrounded by veterans, surrounded by people that experienced it, and I could relate, I could connect, and I finally was able to get the help that I need. And I think that needs to be a focus of treating severe cases of PTSD with the veterans of prior wars, to actually get them the help they need, if they're even willing to get it. They've been shunned for so long that a lot of them are just like, you know what, I'm making it, just leave me alone.
So you're involved with a lot of the veterans activities in the area here.
Yes, sir.
You know, with Paul Havermill at the Veterans Commission, and also you mentioned the VFW. Why are you so involved? Why do you feel that's something you need to be involved with?
Well, I'm the type of person, I like to use my experiences to help others. I grew up in a very Christian family and atmosphere, and I don't want people to go through the inexperience and vulnerability that I had to go through. I'd much rather them get the help right off the bat instead of figuring it out on your own. So I really believe in advocacy for veterans. I feel if I can help one veteran from the potential of doing the ultimate deed, that I definitely want to make an impact. I don't want to see my fellow comrades that have fought have any doubts that there is help out there.
So if there's somebody watching as a veteran and feels like they're going through a rough time, or just want to talk to somebody that has that shared experience, could they just show up at the VFW or any of these places?
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's what the rules are, so to speak.
Anytime or anywhere that has anything veterans related, go there. You can go to the VFW Post 5129 Facebook page. We have a sheet right on there that gives you phone numbers to call if you don't want to see anybody face to face. The Adams County Veterans Assistance Commission at Quincy works, the VFW, the American Legion, any of the Veterans Home. There's so many resources out there. Get the help you need. It's there. It's there for you. It's not something that is taken for granted. You earned it. Get it, please.
All right, thank you for your service, young man.
Thank you.
All right, Jason Watkins, we're at 8 Open, and this is Ron Kincher with Muddy River News.